my channel, and if you are new, welcome. My name is Meg, and today I'm going to show you Meghan Markle's wedding makeup for the royal wedding 2018. So I feel like this wedding was about the event of the year. Everyone was so hyped and so excited about it. So I definitely wanted to do a makeup look inspired by what she was wearing. I tried really hard to find pictures. It was kind of hard because like in a lot of the pictures her eyes were open, so it was really difficult to see what was on her actual eyelid. But I did find an article with Glamour magazine with her makeup artist, so I based this makeup off of that, and this is what I came up with. And right before we get into the video, two things. Don't mind my sunburn. I also have a sunburn up here, and it's like starting to peel. Worst spot to get a sunburn. And also I have moved my location, so if the lighting is a little bit off in this video, I will be messing around with it, so hopefully that will be getting better soon. But let's go ahead and roll into this tutorial. I'm using two of my favorite primers. I'm using a pore minimizing primer around my nose and T-zone and a radiance primer around the rest of my face. According to Meghan's makeup artist, Daniel Martin, he just prepped her skin with a clarifying toner, water-based moisturizer, which I used both of those, but then he used a Korean sunscreen that also acted as a foundation gripper to lock down the foundation. I don't have that, so basically I just took from this article what I did have and what was implied and applied it into my own way. Meghan had on a more natural foundation, but this is what I have. This is the Lancome Tan Idol Ultra Wear Foundation. This is more of a medium coverage, so I'm just not going to put on as much as I normally would, and I'm just going to pat that into my skin with my damp beauty sponge. But according to Daniel, he said that he balanced and neutralized any discoloration on her skin with concealer and foundation, and he noted that he likes to use water-based foundations because it will absorb well into your skin without becoming oily over time. And he said that this was also the key to letting her freckles really shine through. So if you are someone that has freckles on your face and you want it to come through your makeup, just use a lighter coverage and a water-based foundation, and you should be able to have them shining through your foundation. For concealer, I am definitely going to take something that is a bit of a lighter coverage but will still hide my under eye bag, so I'm taking the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer in the shade Fair. Once I have my concealer down, I'm immediately going to set it with the Maybelline Fit Me powder. Now, Meghan's makeup artist said that he did not need to set her makeup really. He just needed to put some setting powder on her forehead. Lucky her, not so lucky for me. So once I pack that under my under eyes and onto my lids, I'm also going to put that powder, a very light dusting of it, on the rest of my face. For brows, I love my Brow Wiz by Anastasia. I use the shade Medium Brown mostly all over my brows, and then the very inner part I will fill in with the taupe shade. I feel like my technique goes against most brow tutorials, but because I pretty much have to draw mine on, I don't want to be sitting here for 30 minutes lightly sketching in my brows. So I just do the under part of my brow, and then I will sketch out the top part of my brow to outline what needs to be filled in. Then with light feathery motions and strokes, I will just fill in the majority of my brows. I would say 3/4 of them in with a medium brown. I leave the very inner portion of my brow empty, and I'm just filling it in with taupe, which is that lighter shade, just so my brows don't look completely solid and completely blocky, because with the way that I do them, it can easily get to that factor, but I think that this is a little bit of a more natural, quote-unquote, way to do them. After I have that filled in, I will go back in with a medium brown pencil and just draw some hair-like strokes to add some definition to the front of my brows. Here I have a Tarte blush in the shade Magic. This is one of their Amazonian clay blushes, and I absolutely love the formulation of these blushes, and this is a very nice coral shade. To make Megan's cheeks look radiant and glowy, Daniel said that he used a luminizer with a dual fiber brush to stipple the product on top of her foundation. He then used his finger to lightly tap a cream coral color on the apples of her cheeks to add a slight flush as well. So again, I'm working with what I have, so I'm just actually focusing most of this on the back part of my cheekbones because I feel like it just adds a little bit of definition, and I just didn't want to bring too much redness onto the actual apples of my cheeks. But I do feel like this added a really nice flush of color. Normally I go for something more rose tone and muted, so I'm happy I got out of my comfort zone with this blush color. It did look like Megan had some kind of glow, especially to her cheekbones, so I am going to go for a more natural finish highlight. Becca makes absolutely gorgeous highlights. It's definitely worth the splurge. These are so beautiful. They look so fresh and dewy on the skin. This is in the shade Moonstone. It is my absolute favorite, so I'm just going to apply that with a fluffy brush. This is a Morphe M510, just the top points of my cheekbones because it doesn't look like she really had highlight anywhere else. Next up from Dose of Colors, I am taking their highlight in the shade Mirame, and it is this gorgeous rose gold color. It is too dark for me to use as a highlight, but I like using it on the apples of my cheeks as a blush topper. I decided to go for this because he did say he used an illuminizer on Megan to give her a really nice, natural, fresh looking glow. And because I didn't have cream products to give me that nice dewy look, I really wanted to make sure that my skin did look nice and dewy regardless of using powder products. So I just focused this again on a more fluffy brush on the very apples of my cheeks. Again, Daniel said that he didn't do anything really to set her face besides using blotting powders and a little bit of setting powder, but because we use so many powder products when she had mostly cream, I really wanted to set it to the face, help the powders melt into the skin to look more natural, so I'm just using my Vicks Plus. This stuff leaves such a nice dewy finish to your skin. I do have a video talking more about this and the best setting spray I think in the world, so the link will be up above if you're interested in that. Moving along to eyes, today I'm going to be using the Morphe 24G eyeshadow palette because the artist said that he used a lot of rusty and cocoa shades, so I thought that this palette would have a good selection for me today. Megan's makeup artist said that he laid down a cream color all over the lids. I thought that this would be a pretty good match for me, but as you can see, it was way too dark for me to just have it all over my entire lid space. So I had to go into my KKW Beauty X Mario palette and take the cream shade from there to pat all over my eyelid space. This is where I really struggle with the interpretation of the look because as you can see, all the pictures, her eyes are open, so it was so hard for me to see where the lighter color was, where the darker color was, if the darker color was on her lid or in her crease. So it was kind of open to interpretation at this point. Daniel described the eyeshadow application as building up in layers, and the first color he mentioned after the cream was a warm chestnut, so I felt like this was pretty close to that, and I'm just applying that with a fluffy brush. This is a Morphe M433. I'm concentrating most of the color and pigment in the outer corner, so it doesn't get too heavy in the inner corner, but I am going to bring the shadow from outer corner to inner corner, and I'm just going to work on blending that out and buffing it out. Once I'm happy with the blending of the shadow, I like to go in with a big fluffy brush. However, I moved, so my brushes got a little bent out of shape. They weren't happy about the move. But basically, I am just going to go back and forth over that shadow to help blend it out further. I know that Morphe shadows are super popular here on YouTube. One thing that I will say is that sometimes they can go on a little bit patchy, but you do definitely have to take your time to finesse them and really blend them out. So that's something to keep in mind if you end up using one of these palettes. Next, Daniel described using a warm cocoa color, so I'm putting this all over the lid. From what I was looking at pictures, I was trying so hard to figure this out, but it did look like she may have had the color all over her eyelid. So I'm just going to put a light layer and just sweep that over my lid and also blend this up into my crease. Daniel then said that he took a smudge of rust into her lash line. So that is exactly what I'm going to use in place of liner. I'm going to take this rusty orange on a thicker angled brush. This is from e.l.f. And I'm just going to pack that onto my upper lash line. It did look like Megan may have had a little bit of a smoky under eye, so now with a pencil brush, this is a Morphe E36, I'm going back in with that first chestnut color and I'm just running this under my lower lash line. I'm going to start to blend it out with this, but I'll blend it out further with a fluffier brush. I'm now going to go in with that smaller fluffy brush. This is from an Urban Decay palette. It is perfect for blending out the lower lash line. So I'm just going to give it a once over with this before we go into the next step. For a super precise pencil brush, I love the Sonia Kashuk 202 brush. And now I'm going to go in with that dark brown, the cocoa color, and really hug this to my lash line. Once I'm happy with the depth of this shadow, I'm going to go back in with that fluffy brush from Urban Decay and give it a once over. I jumped ahead a little bit here because my camera overheated, so I needed to have it off for a little bit. But finishing touches, he did say he smudged the rust color into her lash line. I don't know if he meant upper lash line or lower lash line, so for good measure, I decided to bring it on the lower lash line too. The MAC Extended Play Giga Black Lash Mascara is my absolute favorite mascara for the lower lash lines. I feel like it really grips your lashes and you can really get defined lower lash line with this mascara. For my top lashes, I just use the Maybelline Falsies Push Up Angel Mascara. It really lengthens and separates. And I thought that this looked so beautiful on its own. The makeup artist did say he used outer corner wispy lashes, but I didn't want to take away from the rusty liner, so I decided to leave it natural. And of course, Q-tips are your best friend for mascara smudges. Here is the finished eye look, and I am so happy with how this turned out. I think it looks really beautiful. For lips, the makeup artist already said that Megan had pretty hydrated lips, so he just went in with a tinted lip balm. However, I felt like she had more of a nude color on her lips, so I'm going in with this nude stick in the shade Whisper, and I'm just going to apply a very light, thin layer all over my lips. Even though the lip color is pretty hydrating and shiny, I really wanted to imitate the true shine that you get from a lip balm, so I'm going in with this over-the-top lip gloss by Dose of Colors. I love this. It's my favorite. It has gold flakes in it. It is just so pretty. So I am wiping most of that off and just lightly tapping the remainder onto my lips. This is going to wrap it up for the finished look. I think that this look is really soft and pretty. However, I did have to change out my top because I felt like it was a little bit intense. It's clashing with the mauve on my shirt. But for me, because I'm so pale, like these cocoa colors and these rusty colors, they're gonna show up more pigmented and like a lot darker on me than someone with a deeper skin tone where it may look more natural. But for me, I personally feel like I'm missing some contour to help balance out the eyes. But overall, I really do like how the eyes turned out. I think it looks super pretty. So if you don't want to miss out on any more of my videos, be sure to subscribe. And if you are subscribed already, thank you so much for being here. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. It really helps me out. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.